In time. This is Oklahoma City Police Department. We are outside of Will Rogers International Airport, filming directed energy weapons. Just doing a drive-by, I guess. Now we know why God sent the bike. After what they did in Texas yesterday, it is a 10-mile bike ride to this location from where we are running Operation Lost in Oklahoma City. It's where we're trying to get our fellow homeless neighbors and friends off of the streets as fast as possible into secure locations wherever possible. So this bike got me here, praise God. And we're gonna leave it secured. I have my basic stuff. If you're just joining us, Oklahoma Police Department just did a flyby through here real quick just to see what I got and what I'm up to. Now, as you can see, there are no posted barriers. We're going to go through. This is a NEXRAD penetration drill. This is how close can we get to this equipment, those military directed energy weapons you see over there, those big domes. How close can we get to that equipment? What type of security is in place? Are there any posted barriers that prevent us from getting right to the cooling units, the power grids, the things that are externally exposed that would shut down these weather weapons? Now, you've already heard law enforcement on a previous live video confirm that this was a weather manipulator. Those were the NEXRADs that we were doing penetration drills up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, most of you know that we've been working really hard in Norman, Oklahoma. Norman, Oklahoma is where the Weather Command Center is, RAC, your radar operation command. Oklahoma University has extensive contracts with the United States military when it comes to manipulating the weather, playing God with the weather. You're looking at ground-based units that we told you the minute these are shut down, those sky poisons that every one of us are choking on, well, they have no real way to manipulate the systems. You can cripple them just by eliminating the NEXRADs, but don't forget that they've embedded the technology on cell towers, and a lot of those cell towers aren't actually cell towers. So we have various pieces. Looks like we got an ionospheric heater over there. I can see clearly. We're going to make our way over there. We're just going to show you when you're coming to an area, we want to make sure you do everything lawfully. We're not going to trespass. We're not going to go past any posted barrier, but we're going to be right underneath those towers here in a few minutes, so just stick around. Now, Will Rogers Air Force, they have secured entrance you would have to go through to access those particular towers. You would have to get through some type of airport security or know someone in the airport that can get to those towers for you. As you can see, there's no posted barriers. Nothing that prevents us from going over. Let's go check out these weather weapons. Now, you can't see clearly right here, probably in the distance, but I've got 4 giant domes, 4 NEXRADs. General Dynamic towers. These are the 2 of these towers. It's General Dynamics, their contracts that they're part of. Military Industrial Complex. These are military institutions, military companies. These people get their money from the Department of Defense, and they deploy weather weapons against you in the process. More and more of these towers are being erected across the United States of America, giving the military more and more capabilities when it comes to manipulating the weather systems they generate. Everything I'm speaking is the spoken truth. God knows that is true. The Holy Spirit is going to guide me through this because I'm very upset after seeing all those children drown in Texas, while the rest of you in America celebrated Independence Day. Hoorah, rah! You thanking the men and women in uniform for keeping you safe. Well, the United States military are the ones who control these weather manipulators, and the United States military is the one who sent that weather weapon to Texas and murdered those children. That's how Satan tricks you. Our nation's deceived. They're worshiping a king in the White House who's done nothing but expand it through his big, beautiful bill They're going to have over $1 trillion additional dollars that Pete Hegseth is able to utilize for DARPA and USAP operations. Now, we've got my bike secured, locked up, so shouldn't have to worry about anything over there. There's literally nobody here. This area should have already been hit with the simulation. There's 5 other locations within close proximity of Norman, Oklahoma, and they haven't even been touched yet. Maybe we're just going to have to go to all of them ourselves and get the 200 simulations done ourselves. I hope not, because that's going to take a long time. And your big, beautiful bill is going to warp speed more weather weapons into your community. Praising the wrong man. We told you in the beginning Trump was compromised. We saw it in North Carolina. And when he took power, he didn't return any of the land that was taken by FEMA from our families out there. He didn't put a stop to DARPA, to the USAP operations. I'm talking about the United States Antarctic Project. Their global weather treaty, where Russia, China, and all of our supposed adversaries are all working together as part of a global military. NATO is freaking out. Across the pond, patriots are actually setting 5G towers on fire and disabling them. You had a former chief, a constable of the police. He went out there. He disabled one of those directed energy weapon towers, filmed it, and put it up on YouTube. Now NATO's, of course, freaking out because this is all military. This is NATO. NATO wants all these towers to be implemented. The LRADs that they put on your cellular towers, for example, are going to keep your ass locked in your room the minute they crank up in a certain frequency. Weather weapons is what we're talking about today. And that's a weather weapon we're marching towards right now. Can't get to it through the air fort without having security clearance. But I can tell you right now, from what I'm seeing, we can easily get to it from the perimeter and do some damage before security could get here. Just like at other locations. They've taken America's cowardice. Americans are so cowardly, it's insane. And so propagandized, so brainwashed. 4 months ago, Agent Joshua Rich of the Oklahoma City FBI received complaints related to the military. Not only poisoning our skies with stratospheric aerosol injections, but specifically with the directed energy weapons that they've embedded within our civilian infrastructure out here. Agent Joshua Rich knows full well that these are military experiments, military programs, and like he said, Trump's not going to give us a moratorium. He's giving us a big, beautiful bill, so you get 3 more years of more of these towers, more sky poisons, and who knows, maybe your children are going to be drowning next. You live by a river? Are you in a flood zone? Because that's how they're hitting the majority of people, is with floods first, fire second. The FEMA executive orders give them all kinds of authority with floods, major authority with floods. Hell, they can go rewrite all the flood zones as they change them themselves, systematically. Just following that, you can see the vehicle tracks that came through here. Easiest walk. We're over here at Will Rogers. Governor Stitt just met with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and they've agreed to keep their mouths shut about DARPA. So how are all you people talking about make America healthy again? How's that working out for you? The governor of Oklahoma, Stitt, met with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and they are not going to do anything about the poisons in the skies and all the directed energy weapons that Governor Stitt has in his state right now that the military is using against us. Now we're getting the U.S. government property right here. Oh. You see the signs? There's a power line. This is access easement. Those little babies were screaming when they were running down the river, being washed up, guys. Those little babies were crying. Children crying, screaming, having no idea what's happening to them. While the rest of America, who rah-rahed the military yesterday, We don't have it in English here. I don't speak this nonsense. So this says I can go in apparently. Yeah, I think that says we can go in. Right? I'm not sure. No means yes in that language. Got an ionosphere heater there. We got a unique looking tower I've never seen before. It's still on a dome platform, but it's not as round as this one. It's really unique. Would almost look like a water tower if you didn't see the antennas coming off the top back there. Oh, there we go. This is English. So your United States government owns these towers, the United States military. So don't think that your local news station talking about their Doppler radar, that's not their Doppler radar. They don't even have any idea what that is. They're just given the talking points and told to say this, and they're going to get a check. And you're going to hit like buttons and share and talk about how great. Sorry about that. This gate is not locked. You can clearly see here. Sorry about that. This gate is not locked. You can clearly see here. You can clearly see here. So it does have a faded do not enter sign. So if this was an actual drill where we were going to go over there and sabotage the equipment, we've got easy access right here, and there's no one in sight on the backside of this airport that would be able to prevent us from getting over to that tower. Let's see what we can see moving around. Staying on the perimeter and public easements. What you want to bet next time I come back here, they got that gate locked. Make them work. One of these days it won't be a drill. All right, you got an interior fence also securing this particular directed energy weapon. There. Pretty much the same setup that I'm looking at over here that we've seen at the other locations. Ionosphere heaters, see your frequency antennas, EMF, radiation that's coming off of these things. Ask yourself, man, why are there 5 of these units at Oklahoma City, Will Rogers Airport? Why do they need 5 at this location? They only got 3 at Norman, and that's where the Weather Command Center is. You've seen those. Why are there so many at Will Rogers Airport, and what is the contracts that Governor Stitt is concealing from his constituents? We warned you about Governor Stitt. He may have a house to say that he has a sign at his office. It quotes Joshua as far as him and his house serving the Lord, but that's not true. Governor Stitt serves a military-industrial complex just like Bobby Kennedy Jr. does, because they're not telling anyone the truth about what these weather weapons are doing and how many people have been murdered by the U.S. military. Period. We're going to keep saying it. It's the United States military. Your sons and daughters are government property. The minute you volunteered them to service, they became government property. They are not American civilians. They are government property, and they will do as they are told. They're going to do as they are told. They like to hide some of these behind trees and stuff. You can see it off of higher positions on the roads. Now, right now, we've got no cameras or anything back in this far corner that I can see. It's one of the things I look for, security cameras. I want to identify anywhere they have security cameras. Any breaches that can be made in security. These are called penetration drills. NOAA and the National Weather Service, they did a whole lot of slandering us across the globe a month and a half, 2 months ago when we started these. Trying to convince people that these are just innocent Doppler radars that tell you a storm is coming. That tower's down, period. That tower's destroyed. Less than 3 minutes. Come here with a set of bolt cutters, less than 3 minutes. That particular tower can be accessed and destroyed, period. They don't, I mean, even if they lock the gate, just cut the lock open, go in there and take it out, shut it down so people won't be murdered by these weapons anymore. So that one's accessible. Let's take a walk around this U.S. government property where they have military weapons being used against Oklahoma, Texas, and every other state in the nation, all 48 of them. Everyone's affected by the weather weapons. Everyone's affected by the stratospheric aerosol injections. Everyone's affected by DARPA experiments. Every military is under USAP when it comes to the weather manipulation. Eh? Okay. Once again, we've got no posted barrier coming up on the main road. They did a good job. They've cleared out a line off of the fence going around this back corner. I'm not sure if that's just for visibility access, but they do keep this part mowed and maintained. Something to think on. Maybe catch the guy right after he cuts the grass or right before he cuts the grass when it's really, really high. You can crawl in on your belly and get up to that tower. Once again, we're not crossing any trespass signs. We haven't been shown we're in any restricted area, and we're not. We're right back on a public road. Oh, let's take a walk over here and look at these directed energy weapons. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. There's 4. Happy Independence Day, America. We got law enforcement going pretty slow up there. We do know law enforcement's on this, so that's good. We'd like you guys to be educated too, because you should be protecting us from the United States military. You're too busy out throwing addicts and low-level criminals into jail while your children choke on sky poisons, while the U.S. military uses these weather weapons against us. Yeah. You need that many, huh? You need that one right there? You see it. They'll try to hide some behind the trees. We just checked that one out. You need that one? You need all these too. Let's just stay on our public easement and see what we can look at over here. These are weather weapons, weather manipulators, directed energy weapons, U.S. military weapons. The United States military controls all of these towers. Not the National Weather Service, not NOAA, the United States military. Every one of them easily accessible right off of the main road, and all you gotta do is go through one decent fence that has barbed wire. This one has no internal fence that's securing it, so all you have to do is get over this fence over here. Let's go take a look. How quick could we get over there and switch off those cooling units and sabotage them so they can't operate this thing? Let's guess. Let's see how quick we can do it. I want to see how far it is. While Marjorie Taylor Greene goes forward with the stall tactics and the smoke screens of more legislation after the children were drowned and murdered by the United States military yesterday, and the rest of America celebrated the military and Independence Day. Children were murdered by the U.S. military. Children were murdered by the U.S. military. Your sons and daughters in uniform. Doesn't matter the ones that don't know what's going on. They keep that military propped up. That's it. They fill those positions, so you believe the military is useful and it protects you. The United States military is the biggest terrorist organization in the U.S., period. They've murdered more people. They've poisoned more people. They've experimented on more people than any other terrorist organization. They're damn sure more dangerous than Tren de Aragua. But you'll see ICE go after construction workers, farm planners. ICE will go after all that, but they haven't touched any of the illegals that are part of terror cells, that are part of CCP, that are part of the UN, Yemeni soldiers, Pakistani soldiers, all those people we video cross. ICE isn't giving you any of them. Oh, this is the weather manipulator. And it's the same security truck that had passed me earlier. Don't worry about those people. That's how they're doing it. Shut all these towers down. And then you'll see all those blue flashes on your radars. They won't be flashing no more. It's going to put a real big kink in their research. We told you the NEXRAD towers are the steering wheels of the weather weapons system. After they generate it by dispersing the stratospheric aerosol injections, manipulating them with HARP and ionospheric heaters, then they utilize the NEXRADs, your LRAD, your cellular towers, to emit electronic magnetic frequencies, EMF, radiation. And as they pulsate those frequencies out, it has a repelling effect on all the storms. It pushes it away. So by default, you're steering the car by pushing whatever is obstructing you away into the direction you want. Now at this spot, you have 4 distinctly differently designed towers. 4 of them, right here. They tell you they need all these to show you when rain's coming. You believe people believe that? Make it make sense to me, man. Somebody make this make sense to me. How does a nation celebrate and barbecue and cheer on a military yesterday while the military was murdering children in Texas? Screaming babies drowning. Screaming down the freaking river. Why you hoorah the military that President Trump told you got to support no matter what. You don't have to support the military. They're poisoning us. They're playing God with the weather. I missed that one. Apparently we got 6 out here. Didn't see that one from way in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at that. I wonder what an EMF reader would be doing to me right now. Praise God, no weapon formed against me will prosper. They murdered children in Texas yesterday, America. They murdered those children. A lot of other people. And politicians are going to give you more bans, more laws that make it illegal, but they're not telling you the truth. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't saying that she's making it illegal for the military to do it. She's making it seem like these are just CEOs and corporations that have nothing to do with the military. She's letting you believe that lie too. It's the United States military, stupid. That's what it is. And no legislation that they pass is going to stop what the United States military is doing it, because they can't name the United States military. And under national security agreements, they're not allowed to talk about certain things. They can hint, but they can't disclose full operations that are taking place against the American people, because then they would face consequences. So Marjorie Taylor Greene wants more votes. She wants you to keep her in office. Bobby Kennedy Jr. wants you to believe he's here to make America healthy again, but we just showed you what him and Governor Stitt did. They covered up the military crimes being committed in Oklahoma. If this whole state would be blown to smithereens, it would literally cripple their ability to disperse anything in the United States of America. This is a very pivotal hive that they have here. Not just at Oklahoma University's Weather Research Center. They got a giant building completely. I haven't seen that design yet on that one. So while the military continues to erect these directed energy weapons all across the United States of America in farms, at airports, more of them are going up. We're showing you that. The big beautiful bill gives Pete Hegseth another $1.0 trillion to poison you with, to deploy the United States military against you, America. That's what Secretary Pete Hegseth is doing under the command and order of President Donald Trump. 6 directed energy weapons here. Maybe we'll see another one. We'll just keep walking. This one doesn't have no internal. This is that funny dome one I told you. I haven't seen one of these before, but it's definitely a directed energy weapon. Has no internal fence to keep anyone from getting out. So far that one's destroyable. This one's destroyable. Let's go check this one. Is this one destroyable too? Because a truck can easily just ram through this fence and go take that stuff out right there. Yeah, you can just let a truck go and then just crash into those boxes over there under that tower, and then this tower is no longer deploying EMF radiation against people, manipulating the weather so the military can flood you out and kill you, steal your land, consolidate you into their smart cities. But it's okay. We're calling them Trump cities, so everyone get behind that, right? Sheep. Very interested in that one right there. I'll do some more digging on these facilities. See those big power boxes right there? Take that and the backup power supply that they got over there, and that tower is not functioning for a while. Hit any of these power boxes you see along these roads, oh, you probably want to take every one of them out. Just make sure you don't do anything to take out the radar section of the planes coming in and out, because that's how the military plays you. They put the weapons on your cellular towers because they know you need cellular towers, and you'll go against anyone who would attack cellular towers. All it takes is a mainstream media story saying some conspiracy theorists took out a cell tower and all these people were affected and some little old woman died because she couldn't call 911, and that's it. That's it. You're not going to do nothing. You're going to shut up and use your phone and allow the military to utilize those cell towers to manipulate the weather, just like they're utilizing these NEXRADs. So after today, I think theoretically, realistically, we can take out 5 and 6. We can take out 11 directed energy weapons in the state of Oklahoma without causing harm to life or property. Eliminating these will take a little bit more finesse because we don't want to disable anything that's going to put pilots or passengers in danger while they're flying in and out of an airport that the military has embedded weapons technology in. You're going to see more and more of these go up. They have over 100 additional NEXRAD ships. These are the cloud seeding ships equipped with these NEXRAD towers, EMF. Over 100 of them being built by the Navy right now. Donald Trump ain't messing around. He's putting them all across the Gulf of America, the Atlantic, and the Pacific. Navy ships. Got to make those hurricanes more powerful, more accurate, and more deadly. So apparently the U.S. government owns Will Rogers Airport, or a portion of it. So that means we, the people, own this airport. That'll have to be drawn up and implemented into your attack simulation, just so you can verify with law enforcement that you have all authority to be here. And you can quote Marjorie Taylor Greene and say she herself has inspired you to go out and eliminate directed energy weapons. You don't want to wait for her legislation to go nowhere, like Wendy's down in Tennessee, or you got the Governor DeSantis, Florida. They're being poisoned right now. We got pictures coming in from poison clouds all over Florida, even after they just made it a felony. They're still going to do it. They're just dragging everybody to midterms, to the next big lockdown, be it a staged war, be it an inside attack that they've orchestrated against us, or be it another scandemic because people were so stupid they took the bioweapon and voted for the man who brought them the bioweapon a second time. I'd go with option 3 if I was them, because Americans are that stupid. There'll be millions of Trumpites lining up, worshiping him, saying, don't say nothing bad about the vaccine. The military is making a good vaccine because Biden made a bad one. And they're white hats in the military. I think we got our tower that's being built over there. Check that one out. Looking for any base towers where they're going to set these domes on top of. Look at that. It's insane. All around. All around. We say God bless the children who were murdered by the United States military yesterday while Americans celebrated their men and women in uniform. God bless all those children murdered. Forgive a nation who refuses to repent and turn away from their wickedness. They still think that they're great and they're going to be made greater because the Mossad has the perfect puppet in the White House. Checking around. Of course, it's Saturday. There's not a lot of activity out here. We're going to be looking for any ways that we can access this. There's quite a few roads that run in and out around this airport security. I'm almost all the way around it now, so. See that big dome right there? That big dome can go out. You know, that big dome, that can go. But you don't want the other equipment that you see spinning there to stop. There we go. This looks to be the tallest one, the one you see ahead on the left. That's the tallest NEXRAD that we have out here. This dome right here actually has about a 10%, 20% larger size than that dome. Not sure what that spinning mechanism is on top. The little white dome spinning. But that's what the military do. It'll put directed energy weapons right where, if you were to go and take them out, you would risk all kinds of planes not having communication. You would risk the people flying up in the sky who are clueless to what the military is doing. That's how smart Satan is. He made everybody forget he exists. The man's not stupid. The thing isn't stupid. It is very intelligent. More so than any of us. So it takes me 53 minutes to bike to this location. And I came up on the backside, as you saw in the beginning of the film. Was already at a NEXRAD tower. Of course, law enforcement showed up right away, but the lady just did a quick turnaround and leave. They know who I am. I'm not violating any laws. There are people in law enforcement that are hoping we succeed and that we stop the military from doing what they're doing. And that hope's not going to get them anywhere until they get skin in the game. They can come get their hands dirty, or they can clear paths for us that are willing to get our hands dirty. But continuing to sit there and run cover for the United States military, to investigate private citizens who file complaints against President Trump. I mean, we should have federal witness protection because we've handed over evidence that clearly, irrefutably shows that President Trump is in violation of Title 50, subsection 1520A. Point blank. Is no longer Biden in charge. It was Obama at that time. President Trump. The neocons got their war machine fully going. And their weather weapons fully deployed. How many of you are driving past these things? You haven't even bothered to take a picture. You don't even know what they are. Governor Stitt, man, he loves his military contracts out here in his state. He wants to be on Trump's administration so damn bad he's going to keep his mouth shut. That's why he throws Trump's name all the time. You've seen him at the press conferences we've attended. You see him on TV. He's all about Trump and make America first again, he says. All about Bobby Kennedy Jr., make America healthy again. No. He's keeping Americans and Oklahomans poisoned. Keeping us affected by directed energy weapons. And he's covering for the United States military. This is the sitting governor. How much more power can you go to in a state, America? We went to the sitting governor, hit him 10 ways from Sunday, And he couldn't wait to jump on a stage with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and not talk about DARPA, USAP, and the fact that Oklahomans are being poisoned and these weather weapons are killing Americans all across our nation. The NEXRAD towers is a part of a network of installations across the United States of America. Artificial intelligence has taken a leading role in weather manipulation, just as they're showing you artificial intelligence can predict human behavior before they act in most cases now. It's scarily accurate, highly accurate. I don't think artificial intelligence is worried about Americans getting off their ass to go take out weather weapons. I just don't see it happening. Why would they be worried? Why would artificial intelligence worry about that? Grok and ChatGPT has responded to people I know because I won't talk to them. I have nothing to do with talking to Satan and the beast system. I have nothing to do with it. If I have questions, I take them to God. He'll show me in his word, or he'll show me through an angel coming by to help me along my journey, period. I don't need to have Satan answer what Satan's doing when I have eyes to see. ChatGPT and Grok say that these are just weather radar towers and they don't pose any risk and they're not part of any government weather manipulation program. So it lied. It's supposed to be artificial intelligence, so much smarter than we are, but it can't even tell you the truth. So you're going to a liar. You're asking a liar how to run your business plan. You're asking a liar to design a video with this stuff in it that you think will sound good. You're asking a liar in your artificial intelligence that Trump has just blasted across the entire globe. The big beautiful bill, Palantir, bro. He's taking care of his people. The Mossad's operations have only grown stronger within the past 6 months in the United States of America. Why is Israel running operations against us? Didn't they get enough when they blew up the USS Liberty and murdered our sailors? Everybody wants to cheer on the military, but when you mention Israel murdering our troops, murdering our sailors, they want to get real quiet. Call you an anti-Semite. Even though you worship the King of Jews, the King of Kings, Jesus Christ. That's the problem, is you worship the true Messiah, and the synagogue of Satan is still waiting for their fake Messiah, so they're going to generate one and create one and unleash it on the world. It's happening right before your eyes. This one, that one, easily accessible, one fence to go through. Equipment is on the outside. It does not look like this building equipment is tied with that building equipment, where you actually see the radar spinning on top. So this one could be eliminated and that one could be eliminated without affecting that one. But we'd have to look at where the power is coming in and out at, and we just want to make sure we don't do anything to harm anybody, especially innocent people in a plane. It's not their fault the United States military put these directed energy weapons within our infrastructure. United States military drowned and murdered children in Texas yesterday. And Americans had barbecues, went out shooting, went out fishing, went out celebrating fireworks. And children were screaming, crying, and dying because the U.S. military deployed another weather weapon against us, utilizing these very systems that we've been reporting on. That we've done almost everything besides destroy them to get people to take action, because you can't just take a few of these out and have any impact. They're building them faster than they're being torn down, America, because we haven't lost one yet, and they're going up. They're building them all over the place. It's the only way they can control the weather systems they generate through the stratospheric aerosol injections. They're building them all over the place. There's no golden age of freedom and liberty and all the corrupt and the cabal going down. No. Globalism's coming. And the commander-in-chief is the one who ushered it in, just like he warp-sped those bioweapons into all those children. Why don't you go look at Died Suddenly if you've never seen that? Then do Died Suddenly Children. See what that turns up. And then watch all those children murdered and maimed because the president said the military's bioweapon was safe and effective. He got it done in less than 9 months. Biggest lie he ever told people. patented mRNA bioweapons already mass produced, already distributed to the set pharmaceutical companies that were set up as smoke screens, and you were locked down for a military experiment. They wanted to see if they could lock the whole world down, and they did it. Now they're ballsy. Now they're putting military weather weapons everywhere. They're building them all over the United States of America. 100 new HARP ships coming in, cloud seeding ships. The Navy is getting all that money, and they are building. The United States military is murdering Americans with their weather weapons, with their DARPA experiments, everything flowing under the USAP operations. Six directed energy weather weapons at my location for you to see with your own eyes. They murdered those children yesterday, America. While you celebrated Independence Day, the military drowned those children. You celebrating the Air Force flying their jets in the sky. Why ain't you talking about their tankers that are dispersing stratospheric aerosol injections that your children are choking on? Want to put your blinders on when it comes to exposing the military treason that we're all suffering under. Because you don't want to be wrong about your president, the best president ever. You can't be wrong about that guy. So you're going to allow the military to murder more Americans with these directed energy weapons. You'd rather believe the lie that they're just harmless Doppler radars, that they're just reading precipitation. Irrefutable scientific evidence, military patents, and a whistleblower provided to the Oklahoma City FBI. Here we are, 4 months later. So far, we've only had 2 entities outside of VOP that's gone and ran simulation drills against NEXRAD towers. Think about that. And this is with global news. This is with everyone, including the President of the United States, being notified of Operation Leaning Tower, and only 2 entities outside of VOP bothered to make it to a location where the military has these directed energy weapons embedded in our infrastructure. Only 2. Even though you've seen plenty of live videos, every interaction we've had with law enforcement, we've given you a lawful operation to go, and it's by design. It's a part of something that at least do something. While you wait on lawsuits and legislation to be passed, we don't believe you have to wait. I don't know, if we can't get 200 NEXRAD simulations, and I say we just go after strategic military bases in ways they've never seen before. We can shut their gates down. We've done it before. We can take it right to our sons and daughters who are murdering us, poisoning us. They're government property. They don't have freedom to choose. They have to obey orders and keep their mouths shut. You know, they did internal surveys with military, and literally over 60% of military, active duty military, believes that their military is controlling the weather and running experiments. So you have over half the military. I'm talking about these low-level foot soldiers, these privates, everyone. You have over half of them aware that the military is playing God with the weather. You have over half of them aware of that. They know it's not a conspiracy. They're part of the beast that's playing God with the weather. They're the ones that are implementing, building, and forcing all of you onto a system that is satanic, purely satanic. You can call it the golden age all you want. Just wrapping up the 10 kingdoms in another package, a new world order pushed through by Bush Sr., established well before him. They've already came out and told you what they're going to do. Why they tell you they're not doing it, you have to have the discernment. What side of their mouth are you going to believe? Politicians are telling you the military's murdering you with weather weapons, with poisons, and experimenting on you. But then they're also saying that, oh no, these are just corporations that are trying to block the sun out that's connected to Bill Gates. Do you honestly think Bill Gates can control the United States military? He's just a useful puppet for them too, with his eugenics and sterilization and depopulation, genetically modifying everything. That's it. He's just to wipe God's creation off the earth. Alter it. Since they can't kill you all simultaneously, their game would pretty much be useless. They're going to alter you, poison you, keep you living in a state of fear and panic. They can't make you believe about climate change. Well, they're going to change the climate to where it's so catastrophic that you have no choice to believe it. But so many are going to be so stupid, they're going to think it's cow farts and little vehicles like this right here that's causing the globe to burn. No. Everything from the weather data all the way back to the 90s can show, as they increase the weather weapons technology, the NEXRAD towers, the cellular LRADs that they've embedded everywhere, as they've increased it, so have the storms increased. 1980, you had over 50 or 800 something tornadoes in America. Fast forward to 2024, 1,400 tornadoes. What changed? Dozens and dozens of these got erected all across Tornado Alley. Not sirens to warn you of a tornado coming, but a weapon that can intensify and direct that tornado right up to your community. And it can actually direct it away from airports and other infrastructure. These towers have a purpose just for themselves, just for their infrastructure. They don't want this airport destroyed with a tornado, and I can tell you no tornado is going to touch down and destroy this airport with these weather weapons pushing them away. They're going to push all the tornadoes right towards you. What do we do? What do you do? Are we going to keep cheering this military that just drowned and murdered all those children after they murdered our Appalachian family in Western North Carolina? You going to keep cheering on the military guys? You going to keep cheering for your president who's putting more of these weapons in your community and putting more poisons in your skies? How many more people, how many more children have to drown, America? How many more people have to be flooded out, see their homes and communities destroyed? How many more people have to be murdered while President Trump and his glorious military plays God with the weather? How many more children need to drown and suffer before you get off your ass and show these people something they've never seen before? It's the only way to shake them up. We spooked them to get message all the way to the president, all the way to Bobby Kennedy Jr., all the way to NTG. I mean, to get those messages all the way up to these people, they're spooked to a certain degree. Because what if people start listening to the truth that we're reporting and they decide they're going to take action like we're doing? Pretty soon everyone's looking at these for what they are. We told the deputy sheriff in Cleveland County, when I explained how I was going to be running my attack simulations, I said my goal is to make everyone look at these for what they are. Directed energy weapons used to manipulate the weather, used to murder Americans. We need to look at them as no other thing than a weapon that the United States military controls and deploys against the American people. I'm being emitted with EMF right now, being this close to this. Who knows how much, but no weapon formed against me shall prosper. There are people that get close to these areas and they have spikes in cancers. They have spikes in illnesses, fatigues, headaches. That's because they're EMF sensitized. They have sensitivity for it. It affects them. You can't see it, but it affects them. You can see it affect them, but it's nothing that you can see. Invisible weapons. Invisible weapons deployed against Americans. And everyone who has EMF sensitivity that are by these things, you just shut up and go to the hospital and take your pharmaceuticals. Do what you're told. Midterms are coming up, and if we don't get people ready to vote MAGA, we could lose everything. MAGA brought you these directed energy weapons. President Donald Trump brought you dead, drowned children in Texas yesterday. That's what MAGA is bringing America. Simple. They trusted a politician when they should have trusted Jesus Christ, who told them these times would come, that they would be deceived. They would worship false prophets. They would bow down to abominations of our Lord. They would believe lies and see them as reality. Technology has made it so easy for Americans to be manipulated. You can't even trust anything you're seeing right now, even on this. Hell, 5 years from now, they could have this completely video edited and said I said all kinds of stuff that was illegal and try to find some way to get me. But people will believe it because they saw it on TV. Their favorite politician or news anchor said so. President Donald Trump murdered children in Texas yesterday with the United States military weather weapons program, America. It's the commander-in-chief in the White House. You can't blame Biden or Obama. President Trump brought you more directed energy weapon towers, more directed energy weapon ships, more cloud seeding ships, and expansion to DARPA. And y'all just cheered him on as that big, beautiful bill got passed. Couldn't wait to sign it. This is the Moroni Aeronautical Center. We were actually on the back side of that. This is a massive center itself. You guys can do some research into it. We got the Federal Aviation Administration, which actually, the Federal Aviation Administration is the ones that authorizes the military to poison your skies with stratospheric aerosol injections. You've had that told to you from senators from Tennessee to North Carolina. Everybody's wondering why Tom Tillis isn't on Trump's good list anymore. Well, Tom Tillis actually received information that the military sent that weather weapon to them. Tom Tillis has actually expressed outrage in private. I hope he comes out and just exposes them instead of just walking away and taking his golden parachute. Tell Americans what they did. Tell them what you received in North Carolina. Tell us why we went to North Carolina and why we are here in Oklahoma when we told you what we were going to do, Tom. Tell them. Tell Americans the truth, because that's the only thing that's going to set you free. I'm not the one enslaved. You people are enslaved because you're believing and you're worshiping a military that just murdered more of your children. It just murdered, drowned those innocent babies. Dead, screaming, drowned children floating down the river can't even change the hearts of Americans. They're going to wear that MAGA hat until they die. Be consumed in eternal fire with it because they've idolized a man that's compromised. All these can be destroyed so easily. You come here with a group of 50 people and there wouldn't even be enough security to do anything to stop these things from being destroyed. Their vital components ripped out, their cooling centers shut down. We already know how to sabotage them and destroy them, and it costs them a lot of money sending replacement parts and rebuilding them. How do we get 200 of them at the same time? How do we take out over 85% of their infrastructure via NEXRAD? How do we take out 85% of these? The military is using live exercises against the American people. Don't you know you have a right to fight back and exercise your own operations against the United States military? They're committing treason, America. They're committing treason. And they know they're doing it. Over half of the soldiers enlisted know that the military is playing God with the weather, and they don't care when they see your children drowning, when they see your homes flooded out. They also know about the directed energy weapons and the space lasers and all these quote-unquote wildfires that are started by the United States military. But they're going to shut up and obey orders because they are property of the synagogue of Satan. They do not serve Jesus Christ. They've signed up and served the U.S. government that does not serve our Lord and Savior. There is no fruits of the Spirit coming from Trump's mouth. You're supposed to hate the left. You're supposed to hate the judges. You're supposed to hate illegals. You're supposed to hate his opposition. You're not supposed to build bridges of love and unity and liberty and bring people out from the darkness. You're supposed to kick them while they're in the darkness and say, you stay in that darkness, you stupid libtard, you snowflake. Who's dumber? The MAGA people who are cheering on the military that use these weapons to murder children, or the snowflakes and libtards that believe the government's coming to save them and they want socialism and communism? Who's the bigger threat to America? The MAGA people, because they're going to allow the military to build more weapons and to disperse more poisons in our air. That's it. They're the biggest threat. They're the ones promoting the president that just murdered those children in Texas yesterday with his weather weapons system. Yeah. Easily accessible. We'll see what kind of security changes they send when I come back. Make my way back. If you're going to go to one of these locations, please send me your video so I can share it out and show other people that you're paying attention and that you're on the ready. Because it is our full intention to destroy these, but to do it so organized and on such a large scale that the only recourse for the President of the United States is to halt USAP operations that are illegally experimenting upon the American people. Or he's going to have to take to the stage and tell everybody the truth, that we destroyed military equipment that gave them the power to control the weather, and that we are terrorists for daring to want our skies blue for our children, not to breathe in poison. Terrorists because we want our people to keep their lands and not be flooded out. We're terrorists because we call out the military for their crimes against the American people. We're a violent militia, they say. A violent militia just accessed, man, you can't believe it, 6 NEXRADs, 6 directed energy weapons. Thought I only had 5 here, man. See, even I got surprised. Good to know, though. 5 of them easily accessible. That unique building back there, we're going to look at it on maps. Actually, we might be able to go around this way. Let's see how close I can get to that one. I just want to see. This way, anyone can watch these videos, come out, and you can look at the videos, and you got a general idea of what you're seeing when you come out here. We can do some night drills if you want. Those with eyes to see know exactly what they're looking at right there. How many more children have to die, America? Where you at, Tom Tillis? You ain't got nothing to lose now, man. You're already not in the king's graces. You know how many people are going to appreciate you telling Americans what they really did to Western North Carolina and what they just did to Texas yesterday? And what they do continuously? Millions of people know what the military's doing, but they're isolated, marginalized, and they're kept confined. Confined to lawsuits, confined to podcasts, confined to petitions, confined to emails and phone calls and begging politicians. You're begging politicians for your children not to be poisoned. Think about that, America. You are begging politicians not to poison your children with the military. And the politicians say, screw you, we're going to keep doing it. But don't worry, we'll give you legislation that won't go nowhere to shut your butts up because they have to control the opposition. We're trying to create a black swan event where everyone gets tired of following the Dane Wigingtons, the Stu Peters, the Alex Jones, where they get tired of being told the same shit every day and they're not doing anything new. Nothing new to stop this. All you're doing is sending money to them. And they're getting nicer homes, nicer cars, and paying their bills while you choke on more sky poisons. You send money to those fake lawsuits that go nowhere. Let's head back. I'm not gonna walk. There's a big yard I'd have to go all the way around. I gotta get back over here, check my gear. See if PD showed up. Maybe they're going through my gear over there. I left some papers in there. I'm gonna show you guys. Maybe they're gonna like that. Know that I came prepared. They can put these on the 6 o'clock news tonight if they want. United States military murdered those children yesterday, America. They drowned those poor babies. Why are you cheering for them? Why do you support them? You support them when they poison us? They murder our children? The damage is going to be done to a lot of people who hear this. There's going to be a conviction put upon you because you know I'm not lying. You know I'm speaking the truth. Don't lie to you. I told you who was smuggling the children. I told you the Republicans and Democrats ran those sanctuary corridors and I got crucified for it. Told you we needed help to get the kids out of Mexico. You wouldn't help us, so we went in there illegally ourselves to get them out. I got targeted for it. Hits against my life placed upon me. I'm telling you right now, the United States military is embedding more weapons technology all across the U.S. on our soil, in our civilian infrastructure, and they're using these weapons against us. The most they can do is come out with conspiracy theory articles where they get all the meteorologists to say the VOP's crazy. These radars save lives. No, they just murdered children. Those of you who've done your research, you know exactly what I'm looking at. You know exactly how it operates. And you also know exactly how it can be eliminated without causing any harm. Let's see, we'll cut through. Let's see. Oh, we got to turn around. No access that way. They got a second interior fence that's right there. You can't see it over the grass. So I don't climb fences or go past posted barriers. No need for that now. When you're doing that, you're already moving in to destroy a weapon. You don't want to get hemmed up on some stupid trespassing charge when you're trying to save American children from being murdered by the U.S. military. Because believe me, man, the police, they'll come and they'll tackle you and tase you. They'll beat the shit out of you if you try to go after these towers. They will arrest you and detain you because their job is to protect the military's infrastructure that's embedded within the civilian population. That's what your local law enforcement does, permits these weapons to be used against their own children. You got no balls, no intestinal fortitude. Let's see if this gate's still locked or unlocked. I'm kind of offended when I come by these places and I see that they just literally would just leave it open, almost like an invitation. Like, come on in, Pretty much road to nowhere. I guess we need the 5 across the street on the other side of this one to work with this 6 one somehow. Thank you for those who've called Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office to let them know that I was out here. In fact, it wasn't within 5 minutes of me posting that I was going to be here with pictures that Oklahoma City Police rolled up like you saw in the beginning. They came flying out right away. I had to make sure I was here. I wasn't doing a spoof video. I've caught them off guard on the border several times, making them look left when I was going right. I had to make sure. Some more of your weather weapons. Pretty expansive facility they got here at Will Rogers Airport. And, of course, still open. See that? Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, they got this welded. I just noticed that. Nope, it ain't open. Good job, guys. Look at that. They got this welded shut. That's pretty stupid, man, because any truck can just go right through that. That thing's not going to stop any truck from just driving right through there. Hopping that curb over there and ramming their truck right into that equipment over there. TWR-1. Just bail out. Get going a good 30, 40 miles an hour. You're going to hit that power station. You're going to knock out the cooling center. You know, you're going to shut that tower down. That little welded plate ain't going to stop you from going through in a truck to knock that out. Now, we always try to find ways to destroy these towers that aren't going to harm life. We only want you to eliminate the weapons being used against us, because that in itself is not against the law. The moment you put life in jeopardy, you harm life, you create a victim other than the United States military who's victimizing you. The U.S. military can't be a victim, because you're going after their weapons that were used to victimize you, your loved ones, your neighbors. Used to murder those children in Texas. You can kind of see the other towers over the tree line that we were filming earlier. I mean, look at that. Let's go check out this secured access area. Looks like they've got this gate closed. This one looks like it's welded shut too. It's a gas line I'm hearing hissing over there. It's a big gas line. You see a lot of those underground gas lines, pipelines. They got them over at Norman, Oklahoma facility too. Some of the things that were being discussed during simulation was, could you detonate the gas supply line without causing any harm to human life and destroy the entire campuses that are deploying these weapons against us? And there's just no possible way that we could do that without harming life. So it's not on the table. We don't authorize or encourage anyone to do something stupid like that. There's an easier way to destroy these weapons without causing any harm to life. At some point, it'll have to come before a jury of our peers and the federal government. Is Pamela Bondi, who's concealing the evidence given to Kash Patel and Dan Bongino regarding Trump's military treason, will Pamela Bondi use the DOJ to go after and prosecute American civilians who destroyed the military's weapons being unlawfully used against them? And if she would choose to go after and prosecute those of us doing this, would a jury of our peers find us guilty? Of course not. It only takes one. It isn't going to be like what they did in D.C. against the J6 political prisoners. That's politics. We don't have politics. There's jury members that hate Donald Trump and persecuted the J6 political prisoners. They're going to be on our side because we report on what Donald Trump's doing with his military, what he did with Operation Warp Speed, how he is making his family billions and billions and billions of dollars, making Americans think that he sacrificed. He didn't sacrifice nothing. He knew the payoff was coming. He knew he was going to get reinstated. He's just playing a script, and he knows at the end of it, his golden parachute, man, he's going to have more money than he started with. His family name going to be idolized. You're going to be all billionaires. They're going to push you towards, they got you accepting cryptocurrency already, just like that. They got you accepting the mark of the beast system, just like that. Fake dead currency. You believe crypto is real because they say so. Just like you believe these are Doppler weather radars because they say so. For so many of you, take the coward's way out. You won't even research and look at facts before you because it proves that you're wrong. And then it would actually cause you to what? Have a conscience, take action, defend your children. Are you afraid to stand up against an enemy that's murdering your children, that's poisoning your children? You realize that they're pushing forward and all the new vaccines that they're giving children right now are artificially enhanced. That's it. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is not doing anything but forwarding the advancement. And they're getting rid of the quote-unquote medieval archaic medicine, and they're implementing their new quantum medicine. And you're going to like it because Bobby Kennedy Jr. cared enough about you to get food dyes out of your food, poisons out of your, oh wait, I'm sorry, he didn't do that. That's right. They're putting a lot of stuff that are on boxes and packaging that's going to say not suitable for human consumption, but Bobby Kennedy Jr. and the food industries, they're still going to be poisoning your food to various degrees. They're still going to be generating these bioweapons, injecting your children with needle after needle after needle after needle after needle. And you just let them put those poisons right in your kids because your neighbors did it, because the doctor told you so, because the nurse looked at you funny when you said, I don't trust vaccines. You just let them jab your babies. You don't even tell your children having babies right now. Don't even let them learn from our mistakes. Nope. You say Bobby Kennedy Jr. is going to make everything all right. Trust these vaccines because Trump's in charge and the military is putting the cure in these vaccines. White hats are in charge? Nope, Satan is. His world. His domain right now. He's in charge and he has his people in their leadership positions. And Americans are voting for them, attending rallies for them, and celebrating the passage of more military weapons used against Americans. These are just simple no trespassing signs right here. Doesn't say government property. So we have a break in the fence. This is something we'll look at right now. So this is just regular no trespassing. And you can see where the fence is cut off and the line runs that way. And then the government signs are on that side. So wherever the directed energy weapons in the military, on ionosphere, curators, their frequency manipulators, everything that you see over there from the antennas to the towers, that's on U.S. government property. Will Rogers Airport over here. This does not appear to be U.S. government property because it's not posted as such. So this is private property, Will Rogers. And then the people's property that the weapons are on. See that over there? That's our property. Anything that's got a government, no trespassing sign, that's our property. That's our property. We're allowed to go on there and do whatever we want. Just like they're allowed to use it to deploy weather weapons against us, we're allowed to go on there and destroy those weather weapons they're deploying against us. If I was inciting people to commit violence or crimes, I would have already been detained. You have to understand that. There's nothing I'm telling people to do that's illegal, that's unlawful. And it scares the shit out of some of them, I can tell you that. Their eyes get big when I explain to them. Some of these people in law enforcement and these federal agents, their eyes get really big and, you know, and it's either impressed or it's shocked or it's like, is this guy seriously thinking about doing what he says he's going to do? Absolutely. I've already fulfilled everything up to a certain point. Agent Joshua Rich will tell you that. 4 hours of interviews and evidence given to the FBI in Oklahoma City that Governor Stitt refuses to use to protect us. Governor Stitt's too busy trying to protect his position within the Trump administration. He's letting the military use these directed energy weapons in his state across your state. You in Texas? You in Nebraska? You in Ohio? You in Washington, D.C.? You in Florida? Are you in New York? Well, Oklahoma is the weather command center of the nation. We have more directed energy weapons installed within the state of Oklahoma than any other state. Governor Stitt makes sure these military contracts get through. They make sure the quote-unquote weather modification contracts go through. Private property here. So, this side of the airport where they don't have the directed energy weapons, private property. That side over there where all the directed energy weapons are, U.S. government property, we the people property. You saw 6 of them. It's easier when you're standing here like I am and you can see what the camera's really not showing you. You can take in everything. There are many things that if you go back on film, you'll see where I wasn't saying nothing, but the camera was pointing at something. There's your cue. That's what you look for. Go back and look. It ain't gonna hurt you to listen to the truth one more time today to get it through your head. That if you continue to support President Trump and the U.S. military, then you're continuing to support those who murdered all those Texas babies yesterday while you celebrated independence. You're not an independent nation. You're controlled by the Mossad. All your politicians blackmailed by Israel through their Epstein honeypot. You're controlled by them, just as your president is. The greatest deceiver ever after Satan himself, President Donald J. Trump. Even after warp speeding bioweapons into Americans and locking us down and implementing a global military exercise against us, he still has millions of adoring fans who bow down and kiss his feet like he's a king, who won't let nobody say the truth about him. No law enforcement. Thanks for anyone who made those calls. Sure wish I could come out here and have them come out and ask me some questions what I'm doing, but I think they got the memo now. We've already got law enforcement admitting on the record what these weather weapons are. They go to investigate a domestic terrorist group, and then they end up only verifying the very things that we've been telling you, and they say this on live video. It's a weather manipulator. Praise God for that officer telling the truth, because some people heard him and that's all it took. They were right on that edge of believing the truth. They're still too comfortable with the lie, though, and the hope in a fake plan and a fake Q psyop and a fake president. They're just right on the edge. But then an officer of the law admitted to what that was. You guys have seen highway patrolmen admit to what DARPA is and what the military is doing. A U.S. Marshal has admitted to it. Several in local law enforcement has admitted to it. The chief deputy of Ameson County Sheriff's Department admitted that the United States military was using weather weapons against us. And he was deeply understanding when we said that our North Carolina families are afraid that they're going to do it again. And he was the one who cut me off and said they're worried that they're going to get hit again. Yes, they are, sir. They're afraid. These weather walls are being built all across America under the Trump administration, and Americans are sleeping at the wheel voting for their king, who isn't Jesus Christ. They're not bowing to our Lord and Savior. They're not reaching across to the Democrat aisle and trying to lead our brothers and sisters back towards the kingdom who've fallen. No. Nope. They're playing WWE style bread and circuses. Look at that. At what point don't you start doing something, America? I'm going to sit here and think and see what the Lord tells me I can do. And I got to go back and get a bunch of different still shots, and I'm going to cause problems for these people today. Just them knowing I'm here is going to keep extra people watching me and ready to move in. They're going to do their job today. I think I'm just going to sit here for a little while. We'll probably go to a live video later. We're going to have live videos set up to go the minute law enforcement, I'm letting you know. I'm going to see you coming before you get here, and you will be live. I will show your face, and I will ask you the hard questions. Why aren't you assisting us in destroying these directed energy weapons that are being used against your children? Why are you assisting Pamela Bondi's Department of Justice in covering up the military crimes that President Trump is now liable for because he's commander-in-chief? Why are you supporting a satanic cult called MAGA that just murdered all those children in Texas yesterday with their military and president that they worship and bow to? You people are sick. You need Jesus. You're disgusting. You're cowards. Gotta go.